We've got the 2025 Genesis GV70.
It's been a while. Woohoo!
Oh,
Nice
3.5T, good power.
All right, this video is brought to you by Squarespace. If you want to build a beautiful new website, we'll tell you about that and show you the progress on our website. That's coming up a little bit later. Right now, what's under the hood of this thing, Andrea?
A 3.5-liter twin-turbocharged V6 with an 8-speed automatic transmission, 375 horsepower and 391 pound-feet of torque, standard all-wheel drive, and premium fuel is recommended.
So this is the top engine. You can get the more affordable and less powerful 2.5-liter turbo 4-cylinder with still good power, 300 horsepower and 311 pound-feet of torque. All right, what do you get with this? What are the key standard features?
The base 2.5T comes with an 8-inch LCD driver display, a 14.5-inch touchscreen, wired Apple Carplay and Android Auto for Canada, wireless for the US, a wireless charger, power front seats, driver seat memory including mirrors, leather upholstery, heated and ventilated front seats, a heated steering wheel, panoramic sunroof, heated rear seats, and a hands-free power liftgate. In the US, not all these features are standard, but they are available in a package. Now, when we say premium fuel is recommended, that's what the manufacturer recommends, really, to get this full horsepower and torque that you want, and also the EPA numbers for fuel economy.
All right, so there's rotary everything in here for the infotainment screen and for the shifter. Andrea, what are we going to put it in?
Got to put it in S for subscribe, and if you can hit that notification bell, you'll be notified when all of our reviews drop, and then you can watch them.
And we do this, the couple car review, twice a week. The first one drops on Wednesday.
We put another one out on Saturday.
So make sure to like and subscribe, but also follow along on Instagram. It's Motormouth_Andrea to see what's going on behind the scenes, and to get a question in. For me, it's Motormouth_Auto, and the links are below the like button. So Andrea, we drove this GV70 with a 3.5-liter when this model was first introduced into North America, and we haven't driven it since, so it's nice to get it back, and I'm pleasantly surprised.
Same. I mean, I just can't believe the power, the acceleration, the passing power on the highway. Suspension is a little bit firmer than what I remember, but it just gives it a real sporty feel.
And then we're going to talk about the inside in a moment, and this is really head and shoulders above pretty much all the competition. So we'll get to that in a moment, but I agree with you. This is definitely more on the performance side than you would expect from some other luxury brands. And that's maybe one of the advantages of Genesis coming to the party late, is they saw everybody else and then they decided, we want a bit of this and a bit of that to come up with this.
And this top trim gets the electronic limited slip differential if you're interested in that. Steering feels really good, not too heavy, not too light, just right. Braking has got great feedback. Maneuverability and the turning radius, excellent for city driving and parallel parking.
Yeah, they did a lot right. You know, the Koreans are on a roll. They have invested huge amounts of money into all kinds of different, there's an electric version of this even. Yeah. So yeah, they're really pushing forward, and you can tell they're going right up the backside of the Germans with this one.
And you know what? Speaking of that electric GV70, that is one of our favorites on the market because it doesn't look weird. It looks like a gas model.
And it drives really well. They got it right. So this was introduced in 2022, 2025, some updates. What are we getting?
Well, in Canada, we're not getting anything.
What?
Yeah, it's just a carryover. But in the US, you've got a couple changes. One big one is that you have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto now, and Genesis connected services. Now, in Canada, we will get the wireless update for 2026. Unfortunately, because this vehicle is made in Korea, it didn't get the update, but vehicles that are made domestically did get it for 2025, which is why the US got it.
I just learned something, Andrea. I didn't know any Genesis models were actually made in America. I know they make Hyundais and Kias here.
I didn't know that either, but when I reached out to the PR team, they said domestically they got the update. The Genesis Connected Services, we already have that in Canada.
All right, so the outside of this, I like the shape of it. I think it's a good looking vehicle from a distance, but when you get into the finer details, it's a little busy for my taste. For example, the wheels have that sort of honeycomb or diamond shape to them, and that motif is carried throughout the vehicle on the outside and the inside. A bit busy for my taste.
Yeah, I would agree with the wheels for sure. I mean, you look at the grille and then you look at the wheels and you're kind of like, wow, there's a lot going on here. But I think it really has a great sporty looking, athletic looking exterior design with those muscular rear fenders. We're riding on 21-inch wheels, and you notice also we've got the round, large diameter exhaust tips on our test model. And it's pretty good. The cabin still remains fairly quiet considering this is so rough. And now we're going to move over in a second to the quieter side.
But you're just going faster now. See, if you drive fast enough, you just skip over those bumps, Andrea. I know your plan.
No, but really, it's pretty good when it comes to isolating the cabin. And that's what you would expect from a luxury vehicle.
Actually, coming up in Questions, Coffee, and Cars, we actually left the car running, and you will not be able to hear it.
Yeah. This video is brought to you by Squarespace.
Now, we're using Squarespace to build our new website. And I gotta tell you, as somebody that knows nothing about websites, it's super easy. All the tools are there. It's drag and drop. You can size things. Even I can do it.
All we had to do is select a professionally curated template, then change the template to our images and files, building exactly what we need.
Now, once the site is ready and live, all the analytics are there for you to look at. You can even look it up on the go on your Squarespace app.
The app works with iOS and Android. You can even edit your website on the go.
So head to the link in the description below and use that Motormouth link to make sure that you get 10% off your first Squarespace purchase.
So one of the things Genesis does so well is interiors. The cabin is beautiful. The materials that are used just feel so upscale. There's not a stitch of piano black in here. And I love the different trim pieces that they offer.
Yeah, a lot of detail. So some brands just slap together an interior, even luxury brands that go, that's what you get. I mean, you could look at an Audi and it's still using old components and they've tried to update it. This is all beautifully done. Now, granted, we're in the top trim, all this stitched leather, beautiful vinyl wrapped, even the center console, the side of the transmission tunnel. Andrea mentioned the unique looking materials, packaging the inside. There is no other vehicle in this class that has this level of interior.
Now, this comes standard with a leather interior. In the US, it's leatherette, but available leather. And then we've got this Nappa leather with the piping and the quilted seats, which some may like the quilting and some may not. It's just a personal preference. We've also got some upgrades in here, like the 12.3-inch digital driver display, the 14.5-inch touchscreen is standard. And also one standout in here is the available 16-speaker Lexicon sound system. It is terrific.
Now, one thing you can't see because the camera won't do it, you need to have two eyes, is it's a 3D instrument cluster. When you look at it, sometimes it looks perfectly flat, and then when you kind of let your eyes relax a little bit, it turns into this 3D effect. It's crazy how they can do it without having to wear those goofy glasses you get at the movie theater.
That's true.
But it works.
And a standard 9-speaker audio system is what you get unless you get this upgrade. A couple things that I don't like about the interior.
I want to know, what do you not like? Because I like this interior.
I don't like the lack of storage at the center console. Okay, so there is the storage unit here, which is okay, fine. But here you've got your wireless charger and there's just nowhere to put my stuff. I also find that the door pockets are fairly narrow. And this sunroof, it's got a tint on it. It's raining today in Vancouver. Yes, a summer rainy day in Vancouver. And it's pretty dark in here.
You know, when I shot this out with the camera on a nicer day than this, it was so dark in here because the tint is so strong. It actually had the sunroof open, which then causes its camera stuff, reflections. Anyway, I pushed through, Andrea, but you did have to open that to make it brighter in here.
And coming up in Questions, Coffee and Cars, we've got a question about the sport steering wheel And did Genesis finally eliminate the old-fashioned ones? So stay tuned for that.
Here's me getting in the back seat. This is not the biggest in this class, but it is fairly comfortable. Andrea, how does it stack up?
Comparing the GV70 to the Audi Q5, the Genesis has 41.3 inches of front row legroom, which is a little more than the Q5. Second row legroom at 37.2 inches is almost an inch less than the Audi.
Lifting up the power liftgate on this model, and it actually has underneath the floor, oh, will you look at that, a real temporary spare tire.
Cargo space behind the second row for the GV70 is 28.9 cubic feet, and overall cargo space 56.8 cubic feet. Both areas are larger than the Q5.
You want to know, how does this stack up to one of its main competitors?
Time now for questions, coffee, and cars.
Your questions from Instagram.
How does this compare to the Audi Q5? Totally different. Totally different.
One is like a pillow, quite soft. You know, it's the three bears, Andrea. There's the one bed was too soft,
Yep.
and one bed was too firm, and one is just right. I would say the Audi is like maybe a little too soft. It's mass appeal though, really light steering, easy to drive. This is more in the firmer category.
Well, we always say the Q5 is a great all-rounder. It really appeals to most people. I'm not crazy about the steering in the Audi. It's very, very light, which is an Audi trait. We've said that before. I prefer it in the GV70. I would say for driving dynamics, this is actually closer to the Macan than it would ever be to the Audi.
I think they maybe had a Macan picture on the wall when they styled this, and maybe the engineers took apart a Macan and said, let's try and do that.
How do the seats feel? I've heard some say they're hard and others say they are very comfortable. What do you think, Zach?
I think they're a little gaudy.
Yeah, the quilting
Yeah,
is a bit
it's
much
not to
on the
my
back.
taste. Now, if you like this, look, I even wore a check shirt to try and blend in. I don't have a red check shirt. I think they're fine. These ones are good, but this is the top trim. I can't remember what the other one with the 2.5 was like, but this is good for me.
I thought the 2.5T seats were quite comfortable as well. We've been driving this a lot, and I'm pretty happy with it. But you know what? It's different for everyone depending on whether you have a bad back, you don't have any issues. Zach actually has a bad back, and for him to say they're comfortable, I think that's a real plus.
There's way more about this car that is right than is wrong. The list of things that are right about it is very long. The list of things that are not right about it is very short.
And comfort level, like when it comes to support and lumbar support, it's very good. Did they get rid of the two-spoke steering wheel and lower trims?
Oh, no, they didn't. Oh, no, they didn't. They still have that ugly steering wheel. Oh, how do you get this nice three-spoke sports steering wheel, Andrew? How do you get that?
Well, in Canada, you can only get it on the 3.5T model.
This one.
Well, that's it. And in the US, there is a package that you can add to the 2.5T, which is kind of nice. I think this should be the standard steering wheel across the board. The other one is too old-fashioned. I don't believe it suits this vehicle at all.
It might be to Korean tastes. Like, that's the thing we don't know. This might be, that steering wheel might be kind of what is popular there, but this is more popular, I would say, in Europe and North America. This is the wheel that should be standard for our market.
Absolutely.
And now it's time for our hot topic. What's this one, Andrea?
How to overcome the fact Genesis doesn't have the premium badge factor.
So here's my opinion, Andrea, of what makes a luxury vehicle. Sure, it's the features, it's the power, it's the interior, it's the design, it's all of that, the engineering, of course. But the brand is everything. The three-pointed star from Mercedes-Benz with over 100 years of history, the rondelle from BMW. That means something to a lot of people. Why do you think people in Paris line up at the Louis Vuitton store to get a handbag when they can go to the mall and get one that's maybe just as nice? I just think it's all about prestige, and perceived luxury is what people aspire to own.
Yeah, the heritage of a brand really makes a big difference when you're looking at a luxury vehicle. Look, there are some people who want a BMW, they want a Mercedes-Benz, and they're not going to consider this. This is not on the list. But there are others that are going to see that there is a lot of value with Genesis vehicles. When you look at the price point and the features that it offers, some may reconsider. It's not going to be for everybody, but for those that are looking for features and value and a beautiful interior and a great handling vehicle, they may consider it.
I think you would get people like are looking for an Acura, might say I'll try that. I don't think you're going to get Mercedes buyers to go to a Genesis, but I think you get an Acura buyer to buy this. That's just my thought. Anyway, what do you think? Let's get into all of the specs on this car and more in our vital stats.
Let's start with pricing. We'll do Canada first and then move on to the US. Pricing in Canada includes freight, PDI, and fees. The 2.5T Advance starts at $61,000 and the top trim 3.5T is $80,000 Canadian. In the US, the 2.5T starts at just over $45,500 and the 3.5T just over $58,000. You can add packages to these trims for more features.
Here's the fuel economy for this 3.5-liter turbo, 12.9 liters per 100 kilometers in the city, 10 on the highway. That's 18 miles per gallon city, 24 miles per gallon highway. It can tow 3,500 pounds. And the warranty is strong, 5 years, 100,000 kilometers for 60,000 miles. In Canada, complimentary maintenance is covered for 5 years. And the US, 3 years or 36,000 miles. So you want a compact premium crossover. What else can you choose?
For your consideration, 4 vehicles for you to consider.
Up first is the Mercedes-Benz GLC. It is a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, 255 horsepower, and a starting price of almost $59,000.
The BMW X3 with a 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder, 255 horsepower, and a starting price of almost $59,000.
The Audi Q5 with a 2-liter turbo 4, 261 horsepower, and a starting price of $57,000.
The Lexus NX 350 with a 2.4-liter turbo 4-cylinder, 275 horsepower, and a starting price of $58,000.
So there are 4 compact SUVs for you to consider.
Lightning round, 2 things we like, 2 things we'd like to see improved.
It's a great handling SUV.
It surprised me again how much I like it.
What I'd like to see is this center console redesigned to provide just a little more storage.
And why can't we get wireless Apple and Android in Canada? That's just not fair. We want that, eh? All right, there it is. It's the Genesis GV70. What do you think of that?
Thanks for watching. And if you like what you see, subscribe. We'll see you next time.